shaken off. I'm talking to people right now
Yes.
that are in the midst of making a decision. And you know what I'm talking about. When you first had the idea, it sounded great. But once you now have to set yourself to do this thing, you're getting scared. Are you with me? So you got to hang in there. You got to, first of all, Joshua, he said, be strong. Number one, fasten yourself upon. Seize that thing.
Yeah.
Don't let anything shake you up, because
right.
everything that can is going to. You know who the worst enemy is? Yourself. Man, you guys are good. I'm done. Absolutely. It's you. We are our biggest enemy.
Yeah.
So he said, Joshua, be strong and then be very courageous. Now I'm going to explain to you what courage is. Courage is when you move forward toward the unfamiliar.
Amen.
Let's all say unfamiliar.
Unfamiliar.
Courage is also when you move toward the unknown.
Right.
Let's say unknown.
Unknown.
Courage is when you have to move towards something that is uncomfortable.
Right.
Oh,
Are
yeah.
you with me there, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, and courage is when you have to move towards something that seems to be unsafe.
Yeah.
All right, so I want you to repeat them after me. Moving toward the unfamiliar. Okay, the unknown.
Unknown.
The uncomfortable.
The uncomfortable.
And the unsafe.
Unsafe.
I was talking to my daughter the other day about this very thing, because she was having to make a decision. And some really cool things have happened in her life, but she was telling me that she was kind of, it's pretty big, so she was a little fearful about moving forward, of course. Not that she wasn't doing it. So I began to explain to her what courage really is. And she thanked me a few days later, sent me a text. She said, thanks for the text, Dad. How many dads like when your daughter sends you a text and says, thanks for the text, Dad? Right? Thanks for the conversation. So here's the thing. Every time, I want this to sink in. When you're moving towards something that seems to be uncomfortable, are you hearing me, guys?
Yeah.
Your temptation is going to be to back off.
Right.
If it's, see, how many have had to ever move towards something that's unfamiliar?
Yeah.
What? What about it seems unsafe?
Right.
See, what we don't know, it seems unsafe. You have nothing. I was going to tell you that I went for my first colonoscopy a couple of years ago, but I'll never say that here. So, I need to have a drink. No. I'm not going to tell you that I didn't even have to go. It was my daughter who was what do you call them when you're not an RN, you're an RPN? Yeah. She said, Dad, you have to go. I said, come on. There ain't anything wrong with me. Yeah, Dad, but you need to go. I actually made an appointment with my doctor. And what are you doing? I'm saying to myself, just voluntarily making an appointment for... I'm telling you, man, that took courage. All I remember is that lovely nurse putting her hand on my arm and saying, it's going to be a little day. There are many, that's why you guys are heroes. Because you have all had to take courage and move forward. But listen, if you can remember what I'm saying, that every time you have to move toward the unfamiliar, the uncomfortable, the unknown, the unsafe, and you're hesitating, you'll take a step. You have to do it yourself. God is not going to do it for you.
No.
Right? God does not give courage. You can pray for it all you want. He doesn't give courage. You have to take courage.
Right.
Courage is there waiting for you to take. And here's another thing. Courage has a partner. Courage never shows up by itself. It has a partner, and that partner always shows up first.
Yeah.
And that partner is called fear.
Yeah.
Let's all say fear.
Fear.
Fear shows up first. Fear is very aggressive. Fear will come in your face.
Right.
Fear will say things to try to intimidate you. But courage is hooked up with fear. Now, courage always, when fear comes, now I want to help you. Because every time you fear or feel fearful, let's all say that 5 times fast.
Yeah.
I can't even say it once. You feel fearful. Yeah, thank you. Know this. Please know this. Somebody's standing in the shadows.
Yeah.
And it's courage.
That's right.
Yeah.
Waiting for you to call upon him.
Yes.
He's standing there,
Yeah.
waiting every time. But if you don't call on him, he'll never come out.
Right.
Yeah.
He'll never help you. He's a partner with you.
Yes.
Taking courage. Anytime you feel hesitant, when you're feeling fear, know this, that courage is waiting for you.
Right.
And you have to have courage.
Yeah.
Yes.
If you don't have courage, you won't do what God ordained for you to do.
Come on, that's it.
Courage has to be coupled with the talents, the gifts, the abilities, all those things that God has given to you. You have to have courage to be able to walk forward and do it. Am I right, guys?
Amen.
Yeah. Joshua had to take a partner across the Jordan with him. And it's courage. You know what that tells me? That entering into the promises of God is always going to take courage.
That's it.
Amen.
Amen.
If you don't take it, you just don't get there.
That's it.
Right.
You guys are actually still listening. So courage is absolutely vital. As you might say, well, why don't I just get myself in a position where I don't have to be afraid and that I don't need courage, but as I said, you'll never accomplish anything.
That's it.
How many guys here are married? Okay, so some of you are a little, I saw hands. Now listen, yes. Guys, did it take courage for you to ask her to marry you? Were you a little nervous about it? Who said amen? Yeah, look at he's got 4 hands back there. It took courage for you to go. I don't know how you did it, on your knee or on your head or on your hands. Now, how many women are here that are married? All right, listen, it took you more courage to say yes. That's right. Any major decision we have to make in our life, you have to take courage to do it.
That's right.
Now, I want to tell you about the biology of courage. This is really cool. This is how I know, Pastor Terry, that God created us to take courage. How many have felt stress in your life? Oh, yeah, look at this. Stress feels the same as courage, but it's 2 different things. Now, there's a child in stress. Oh, man. What are you doing, baby? Oh, she better talk. Oh, it's a cute little tongue. What was I talking about? Oh, yeah, the biology of courage. Well, I'm going to tell you a little bit about a study that they did, and I believe it was with 30,000 people over quite a few years. They asked them this question when they started the study: how many of you have a little stress in your life? And then they recorded who had a little stress. Then they asked the others, how many of you have had a lot of stress in your life? And the people that had a lot of stress, I'm getting a lot of amens here. It's fantastic. They said yes, and they reported those people. Then they studied them for quite a few years. Now guess what, guys? The people that had a lot of stress didn't fare as well as the people that had a little stress. But listen, but not all the people that had a lot of stress. The people who had a lot of stress in their life, but they believed that the stress was beneficial, that it was empowering them, it was giving them energy. They weren't feeling like, hey, this stress is going to kill me. No, they were saying, this stress, what I'm feeling right now, I'm feeling energized. I'm in a fight, flight, freeze, or flop. Just hope you don't flop. And today, please don't freeze. Man, we can get some pants on. You're just... Now, the reason why I'm saying that is because I'm feeling so emasculated right now. I got a sweater on and 14 undershirts. Take them off. And a tie to keep my neck warm. I would look a little rough, better than a scarf around my neck. So they asked the people about their stress levels. But listen to this. As I said, the people who had a lot of stress, but believed that stress was good for them, actually fared better and lived longer than the people who had little stress in their life. We've been giving stress a bad rap. This is a psychologist by the name of Dr. Kelly McGonigal, who said she traveled the world in the past teaching people not to have stress, to avoid stress. But she said, I made a mistake. I gave stress a bad rap. Now, if you believe that what you're going through is good for you, you see, when you're under stress, your blood vessels constrict, and your blood pressure goes up, and you don't get a lot of oxygen, and you might produce stress chemicals a little too much, such as cortisol, and it's harder on the body. But here's the magic. If you believe that the stress you're going through is good for you, your body does the actual opposite.
Right.
Just the belief. Your blood vessels actually open instead of constricting. You get more blood to your organs and more oxygen. Now, the reason why I'm telling you this, guys, is because courage has the same biology. You might feel, I'm feeling freaked out. Do you guys say freaked out around here, Pastor? Yeah. But if you take courage and you move forward, your body totally changes. God gave us a biology of courage. When you take courage, it feels like stress, but it's different than stress. You're afraid to move forward, but you're saying, I'm going to do it anyway.
Right.
Because I know that what I'm about to do is what I know I need to do. The biology in your body actually, your blood vessels actually open up. Your brain loves to be challenged. I want you to remember that. So when you challenge your brain, and you make it do things it didn't feel like doing, when you know it's good for you, your brain actually functions better.
Right.
You got that, guys? Now here's another thing about courage. The biology of courage. Your body begins to produce oxytocin. Let's all say oxytocin. Now I didn't say OxyContin. Someone just said, yeah. Oxytocin. Anyone ever hear of oxytocin before? Do you know what oxytocin, what they call oxytocin? They call it the hug drug. Yeah. Whenever you give someone a hug, your body produces oxytocin. Did you know that? Yeah, it's a hug drug. Just don't hug too long. Just... Yeah, when your body produces oxytocin, you feel that you want to be with people. When you're social. When you become social, hey guys, there's something in us. God wants us to be social, and He'll reward you.
That's right.
When we get together, just like we are right now, Pastor Terry, you guys have decided, you got out of bed, and you said that it was hard. I was afraid to put my hand up. But the fact that you're here right now, your body is saying, well done. God is rewarding you. Your body produces oxytocin, which causes a desire for you to want to be together with people. When women give birth, all the men said, thank God. When women give birth, their body is flooded with oxytocin. Right? And the reason for that is they fall madly in love with that slimy little alien. Yeah, you ever see that? These poor little babies. I'm glad they didn't know how to do that, Pastor Terry, when I was a baby.
Yeah.
But they take pictures of the little alien. And they tie the little thing's arms up like this. So it can't lay down if it wanted to, right? And they're showing everybody in the day.